Hi, it's Loy Gross. I am an adjunct fashion instructor at Genesee Community College, and the course that I'm working on for this project is a revamp of FBM 210 Fashion Industry Technologies. And this is a course that I have previously taught in person, but now for the very first time this fall semester I'm teaching it in HyFlex. And HyFlex at our institution is defined as each student being able to choose whether they will consume the course in person, by Zoom, or completely asynchronously. And they can each choose one of those modalities exclusively, or they can choose to combine them. So I have to have a course that now works in all modalities simultaneously. So the kind of students that I have year 2 fashion students, and they are very much aware of garment construction techniques, fabrics, threads, sewing styles, those kinds of things. But I can also have digital art students, I can have video game character design students, I can have social media students. They have absolutely no interest whatsoever in sewing or creating the finished garment. They just want to create the avatar so they can make a little digital video that they're going to use in their projects later. So the deliverables that I've chosen for this project are an introductory module, a syllabus and course outline module, and the digital photography week 2 module, which I'm using as a template for the rest of the course. So let's talk about learning theories. This has always been very much a project-based course. It has always been very constructivist, experiential learning. I am a big proponent of the apprenticeship theory, and I believe in all of those things. We run the course on an agile project management framework, so students get to understand what are sprints and how each unit is handled as a sprint, and the various Scrum ceremonies that we use to help them plan and manage their projects throughout the course. So it is a skills-based course, and I allow the students to use any project they would like to that lets them demonstrate the skills that they're learning in the course. And that works for me. I use a course map here. This is kind of the way that we do it at our institution. Each week, topics and goals that we're going to teach, the learning materials that we're going to be using, the formative assessments that I'm going to be working with, the actual assignments that I'm going to use to assess their learning, and the post-class reflections, all tied to whichever course learning objective they match. And so with a skills course like this, it tends to be very flexible, where I don't have every student working on the same thing at the same time. They're working on the same concepts and skills, but they're working on very different projects. So one of the things that happens, this course is already very heavy in technology. We're working with some seriously advanced technology here. We're working with fully virtual people, and all kinds of tech that is out there and almost science fiction to some of these students. So I'm very hesitant to add new technology to my class itself, because the students are already learning new tech on the daily, and I don't want to add to their cognitive load. But at the same time, I need to find a way to continue that collaborative group learning, peer review process that we've enjoyed in person. So what have I added to the class? Well, the first thing I added to the class is the Who's in Class framework. And this is a short and modified version of Tracy Addy's framework. And it gives me a chance to survey my students at the very beginning about their readiness for the course, things that are going on in their lives. Are they able to fully purchase and acquire all of the things they'll need for the course? I love this question here. I prefer to complete assignments by typing them, by recording videos, orally by presenting and discussing. So in advance, I'm going to find out what kinds of forms of expression my students would prefer to use, and then hopefully I can adapt the class as we go through to kind of better accommodate those modes of expression. I'm also asking questions about inclusivity and about cultural awareness. So I like those very much. I am introducing a unit video for each unit, where not only is the course explained in text, but each unit has a welcome video where I kind of go over everything that we've talked about in the text. This is how the unit's going to work. This is what my expectations are. This is what you're going to do. And I'm hoping that that provides the deeper connection with those online students, as well as multiple means of representation of the content. I am also modifying the class to a flipped classroom framework. So the content of the class is now in these pages. We don't have a textbook. And that preserves our precious in-person class time. But one of the other interesting things that happens is because all of the content is online, if I can find some different diagrams and some different simulations that are relatively easy to use, that don't have a serious cognitive load, I can ask the students to do some different hands-on playing with those simulators. Try that one. Playing with those simulators, this sort of mimics the idea that I would normally have going on in class, where I would hand them a camera and have them work with it, but instead I can find some online simulators that are relatively simple, so we can preserve that hands-on format of the course. One of the big things that I did add to the class is a reflective AI exercise, and that happens at the end of the reading. And it looks like this. I've created an AI prompt, and I spent a fair amount of time developing this prompt, and students will copy and paste that into ChatGPT. And when they do so, ChatGPT is going to start asking them questions, and they can answer. ISO has to do with light sensitivity, but I'm not sure about the others, right? And ChatGPT is going to come back and going to help them out with some answers and some different communication. I love this exercise because, first of all, it's a nice reflective exercise to bring that material up again, repeat that material. It's a nice self-assessment for the students. It's a comfortable environment where they can really be vulnerable. I've told the students it's okay to ask ChatGPT to explain it like I'm 5. It's just them in the chat box, so they don't have to worry about those things. They are going to copy and paste the results of their chat into an assignment submission and submit them to me, so it will double as a formative assessment. It'll give me an idea of their depth of understanding when I see what kinds of questions they're asking the chatbot. And it also triples as a course assessment, because if my entire class is falling at the same concept, then clearly I haven't explained that concept very well. Okay, so I'm very excited about the AI assignment. The other thing that I am adding is an explicit rubric generation assignment. And so I have done this in person in the class and sort of in an implicit way, and I'm now being very explicit about doing this. So the students are asked to tell me what they think an A assignment looks like, or a B or a C. And so they're going to generate some ideas as far as what they consider the key elements and criteria are. And I love this because it doubles as a formative assessment. It tells me how much they understand about the project. It tells me the depth of their understanding of what they think I'm expecting. It gives me an idea of their interests, because I have wildly different types of students, and so they're going to show me what is important to them in this assignment, and as an explicit meta learning planning exercise, as part of our project management framework. This is part of our planning for the exercise. So I really like turning this implicit assignment into something explicit, and I find as a result almost my entire course is in the discussion board now, which I am okay with. It's all in the discussion board, and that's perfectly okay. We're hopefully going to get a lot of good collaboration, a lot of good interaction, and I'm allowing the students to use all of the multimedia capabilities of the discussion board, so they can record videos, they can upload videos, and they can submit images as well as text. All right. So that's how it's going to work. My course is explicitly split into items that students have to do before class, and those things are due Monday night. And then things they have to do after class, their assignments, which will be due on Friday, and then comment and critique on each other's projects due by Sunday. and a course review or a unit review at the end of each unit. That's part of our project management Scrum framework, where we review what we have learned, what we have accomplished, how our project or our ideas of our project may have changed in the meantime. So those are the primary things that I'm adding. I did want to point out one other thing. In addition to the regular units, my students all do a semester-long research project. And here's an example from last fall. One of my students did an AI research project where he wanted AI to generate sewing patterns for him, and did a whole bunch of research, figuring out which AI to use, determining what kinds of capabilities they have, and reached the point where he could give a prompt. He had taught the AI enough that he could give it a prompt and have it come back with instructions, and when he put those instructions into our 3D modeling software, he got exactly the garment that he wanted. So each of my students have a research project, and their research projects can be radically different. They can submit podcasts, AIs, traditional research papers. One of my students submitted an actual physical prototype garment. And the rubric for each of those projects actually becomes that expectations or their planning document. So in a sense, I have been explicitly doing those expectations assignments, but now I'm bringing it from just that semester-long research project to each individual project throughout the course and throughout the units. So, overall, we made some improvements to UDL, to accessibility, to inclusion, I believe to appropriate use of technology, and hopefully the kind of connective assignments in blended learning environments that will result in us enjoying those rich collaborative experiences online. At least that's my hope.